All right, it's Wednesday, November 12th. I'm buying some SPY 690 puts here at 723. Just going to see if this turns into some kind of a failure day. I guess we gapped up. We obviously went down on bar two. We're still above the midpoint of the prior day. It's kind of like yesterday where, although yesterday we didn't gap up, we kind of just had a red to green move holding the midpoint of the prior day. Today we did gap up. We're above the high of the previous day. So I watched bar one, and I didn't want to, buy puts on bar two, just given the overall uptrend. Then I watched it try to rally up here to the midpoint of that first bar and start down again. So it looks like it wants to head lower, kind of like yesterday morning, before possibly holding and moving up. I could see yesterday's close and the pre-market lows down here as kind of a target. And, if all goes well, maybe we end up, getting some momentum and getting through the halfway point of that prior day. That's what has to happen for us to really fail. If we get down to a two-down day, and I described this yesterday on one of the SPY videos, I think a two-down day gets to the open of the week, and really with, midweek here, we can turn that weekly chart red. So it's possible, that we're still just holding inside of the prior week, even though we're green, and it's a red week from last week, and we went two down, and we're not really in two up mode yet, even though we kind of on the flip of this week, we started above the open and we've been up for a couple of days, but anything's possible within this range to head lower. And opening price action today certainly, didn't want to have that immediate red to green move. So I think it's heading a little lower first, and some of these targets here are into the range of yesterday, and we'll just see if a little momentum might build. But for today to really be negative, we got to get through the midpoint of that day, and then continue a lot lower. So I'm not convinced it's going to happen, but opening price action just at least wants to, head a little lower here to this target. And at that point, we can kind of judge price action and see if maybe something more substantial on the downside develops.